Marvel's What If show just ended with season 3, and once again, it's another big disappointment. In a show that claimed to have infinite possibilities, we got the most boring and uninteresting stories ever told, like What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas, and 6 boring episodes of the industry plant superhero known as Captain Carter. The fact that Captain Carter has gotten almost a season worth of episodes and been in one of the biggest movies of 2022 and still has 0 fans is actually insane. I remember when the show was first announced and people were actually hyped for the show, me included, and I'm not gonna lie, season 1 did kind of hit. Like, we did have some lame episodes in season 1, but most of us thought that wasn't gonna be how it was for future seasons, but little did we know. Like, obviously we had the boring episodes in season 1, like What If Thor was an only child, but looking back at it, a majority of them were actually bangers. Like when the episode What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands dropped, it was straight heat. It had some of the coolest action scenes in the MCU and was not afraid to go to some dark places with the Doctor Strange character, and even ended with this version of Doctor Strange destroying his own universe, which was really cool to see Marvel actually take risks with some of these stories and with some of these iconic characters. Then we also got some other episodes people liked, like we got Marvel Zombies, and we got the Ant-Man mystery story, and we even got the final acting performance of the late great GOAT himself, Chadwick Boseman, in this first What If season. But even though we got all these amazing moments in What If season 1, the definite highlight of the season was the episode What If Ultron won, which is just pure peak cinema and is the peak of what you can do with these What If storylines, where we see Ultron, this amazing villain, finally get his age of Ultron, unlike the couple days we got in the Avengers movie. This Ultron was so cool and had so many great scenes in this one episode, to reaching a level of power to where he can even hear the Watcher narrating the story, to even taking over the universe by destroying the strongest beings, to also having one of the best Ultron designs in Marvel history, and to having one of the best fights in the MCU with the Watcher where they're just straight up boxing, and it's so cool to see. This episode was 10 out of 10. It was amazing to watch, and this episode even had Ultron winning at the end and would lead to the ultimate finale where the Watcher created his own Avengers to defeat this version of Ultron. And even though I found the season 1 finale episode kind of disappointing because I wanted to see more of this Ultron, it was still a pretty solid episode overall if I put my Ultron bias aside. Overall, at the end of season 1, everyone had an actual good time with this first season. It had some lows, but overall it was pretty solid and actually lived up to the What If name and put out interesting stories people actually wanted to see, and no one expected the lows of What If season 1 to be its mainstay standard throughout the rest of the seasons. But then unfortunately we got announced What If season 2, and when they dropped this episode list, it was the most brain rotting thing ever seen. When people saw episodes like What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas, or What If Nebula Joined the Nova Corps, and 3 episodes of Captain Carter, everyone who liked season 1 of What If all had the same reaction when they saw all these episodes drop.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
So when these episodes dropped and people found out what these stories were going to be, this is where most people who watched What If season 1 jumped the What If ship. We went from iconic stories from Marvel Zombies and new iconic stories with What If Ultron won to What If Hela found the 10 rings? Like, come on, how can Marvel not see that no one asked for this? And definitely, most people were not interested to see these stories. Never before had Marvel done such a hard 180 from going to making stories people actually wanted to see to this. Now, even though season 2 of What If was a mess of a season and showed all the flaws it had from season 1, we then got an image after season 2 ended of a potential What If episodes that could be coming to season 3 of What If. So people saw these images and were like, okay, maybe you have us back on the hype train. Maybe season 3 is where everything comes back and everything becomes actual good stories, and we see some of these iconic characters who haven't shown up in the MCU make their first appearance in What If. But then the news came out that season 3 of What If would be the last season for the Marvel show, which showed to us that maybe season 2 really killed What If, and a lot of people didn't watch season 2, so maybe they're gonna come back with some actual good stuff and leave off on a very good note, and maybe season 2 was just an anomaly. Maybe season 3 will actually be good and bring us back to the promised land. And then we got to see the trailer for What If season 3, and not gonna lie, I was actually seeing a little glimmer of hope, mainly because the story that they were showing for most of the promotional footage and most of the trailer for the final season of What If was the story of what if Storm got the powers of Thor, which did sound pretty cool, and we were going to see an X-Men for the first time in the What If show. But boy was I wrong. Boy was I misled with these trailers, because when season 3 of What If dropped and ended yesterday when I'm recording this video, it was the most garbage thing I have ever seen. In a universe with infinite possibilities, the one thing they couldn't make was making What If good. Like, let's look at episode by episode and just talk about some of these horrible What If ideas. The first episode, kinda solid. What If Mecha Avengers? It was was a pretty interesting story. Having Hulk be separated from Bruce Banners and turning into Voltron at the end of the episode was a decent what if episode, but overall it's just a whatever episode. People are gonna forget about this episode in a year. It's not gonna have staying power like some of the iconic season 1 what if episodes. Then we go to episode 2. What if Agatha went to Hollywood? Yes, you heard that right. What if Agatha went to Hollywood? I don't know what Marvel was on, but no one asked for this episode. No one even thought about this episode in the back of their mind. I don't even know how they came up with this idea. Agatha as a character is not a character who deserves her own what if episode. Not much less deserves her own series how we got earlier this year. She is a Z-list character in the Marvel universe. Not to mention, it's not even a cool idea. Like, maybe if you even made this an interesting idea, people would actually kind of turn away from it being a Z-list character like Agatha Harkness. Like, no one in the world sees the title of Agatha going to Hollywood and is like, oh shucks, I can't wait to see Agatha go to Hollywood. They're gonna come up with such an interesting story here. Anyways, let's move Agatha episode to the side. I think this punching bag of an episode, I can go on and beat up this dead horse, but no one really cares about this episode. Let's look at the other episodes of season 3 of What If. We got episodes of What If Red Guardian stopped Winter Soldier, which it's a whatever episode. There's also one with White Vision, which was kind of cool. You know, kind of cool to see this White Vision come back, because in the current MCU, we have no idea where this guy is. We also got a Shang-Chi episode that introduces the Hood, which is actually kind of cool. The Hood is the actual beloved Marvel character that I personally can't wait to see when he comes into the MCU, and it's cool to introduce him in a What If episode. Could actually give credit to this episode actually doing something a little interesting. But let's look at this other episode. Let me clean my glasses. Maybe I'm not seeing this episode title right. What if the Howard the Duck gets hitched? I mean, maybe this title is a little misleading. Let me actually see what happens in this episode. Oh. Howard the Duck has a kid with Darcy, a character that probably most people of you guys have probably forgot about. She's from the Thor movies. She's like that side character in the van. Yes, that girl. Howard the Duck has a child with her.
What?
Thanos might have been right. Some of the people in this world do gotta get wiped out. Like, there's no way the people who created this episode should be taking up oxygen from the world that you and me could be breathing. Like, I don't even want to imagine how these two characters even had a kid. But if we put all that nonsense to the side, I ask one question that I asked many times before. Who asked for this episode? Who asked for this what if idea? This had to be one of the Disney executives' fantasy, because no sane person was asking for this what if storyline, and no sane person would even think about this idea. With this episode, we have officially hit a new low point. It used to be Thor the Dark World, now it's this episode. But anyways, let's get to the long-awaited season finale, the end of What If. We get to see the Watcher assemble another Walmart Avengers. They assemble a team with more characters that no one cares about, led by the industry plant superhero known as Captain Carter, and then ends with all these characters getting godlike powers, and Captain Carter dying, and having the sad moment for this character that no one really cares about, and ends with the Watcher giving this long speech saying there's infinite possibilities and infinite what if worlds, and showing us all these realities that we all thought we're gonna get and we're actually interested in seeing. Like, these stories that they show at the end could have been so cool to see instead of seeing Agatha go to Hollywood. Episodes like What If Hulk became the Sorcerer Supreme, or a Samurai Ghost Rider, which all sounds pretty cool and all sounds like great ideas that should have gone What If episodes. But who even cares at this point? No one cares. This show has already ended and we will never see any of these cool ideas come to animation. Overall, the What If show was just a huge disappointment when it came to actually giving us what if stories that we actually cared about and what if stories that we actually wanted to see. But instead, they gave us stories that no one really asked for. All I can say is that at least season 1 was pretty solid, and I will always give them credit for giving us one of the best versions of Ultron to ever be put into animation. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the downfall of What If. I assume most of you guys probably left the hype train after season 1, and I doubt most of you guys have seen season 2 and season 3 of What If. And I personally envy you, because I put so much pain into even looking at these episodes and actually to my time on some of these episodes and suffering through all this pain. So for all my suffering, the least you can do is like and subscribe, because 99% of the people who watch me aren't subscribed. So don't be that 99%, be that 1%. Hope to see you guys next time. Later. Peace.